We are losing Michigan, guys, and I am afraid and uncomfortable by that. I've been out here knocking on doors and talking to people, and the responses that I am getting, I can't believe it's so many black people that believe Trump is going to save your life over a stimulus check, bro. Over a stimulus check, bro.
So as you saw and heard there, she said she was about to cry because she cannot believe the amount of black people who said they're voting for Trump because of a stimulus check or some baddie named Peasy.
Yes, Libras are losing their minds. That Kamala is losing a lot of people. This lady you just saw, she did her investigation and realized it is bad. If you see CNN putting out polls and telling Kamala campaign that things are not working, if you lost CNN, you can clearly know that things are really bad. It is important I show you some of these videos. First, take a look at this.
So as you saw and heard there, she said she was about to cry because she cannot believe the amount of black people who said they're voting for Trump because of a stimulus check or some baddie named Peasy, I guess maybe he's a rapper or something, that's influencing black people to vote. So she basically said that we are losing Detroit, right? She just flustered. And she also said that the Muslim community is also saying they're not going to vote for Kamala. So she's like, I don't basically know what to do. But you know what that also told me? Is, of course, we're hearing about all these polls that say that Kamala's getting ahead in the polls and this, that, and the other. But see, they're not telling you about her story, which I'm surprised that she got on TikTok to tell that part of, you know, the story that people are not feeling her candidate, which is Kamala Harris, right? So they're not going and taking a poll of those people that said, I'm not voting for Kamala. I don't care if she is black. Because later on in that video, she lamented about how she's been going hard in the paint for Palestinians and things like that, and said that y'all need to show up for, you know, somebody who looks like us, right? Like our people. And it's like, that's not necessarily how it works. You should show up to the polls for people who are going to vote or give you something like a policy that's going to benefit you, not just because they black or they a woman. So, you know, I'm sorry for her tears, but I think she's getting a rude awakening that it ain't what you thought it was, boo-boo. You got to, you be showing up to the door with a little bit more of, or she's Kamala Harris and she's black and she's a woman, get her into the White House. Because if you come to my door, and I don't live in Detroit, but if anybody comes to my door, oh boy, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to ask. I'm going to be nice, but I can't wait to ask questions of, why should I, as a black woman in America, vote for Kamala? And if somebody comes to my door and asks me about Trump, I'm going to ask the same thing. Because guess what? I'm nonpartisan, so they got to earn my vote. They will never be able to assume my vote, never, ever again. So
yes, I appreciate this lady for this commentary. That is a good reply. Some people don't even know why they are casting their vote for Kamala. Some say it is because of her stand pertaining to abortion. Some say, oh, it's because she's a black person. They don't even check to see how the economy is doing under her watch. They don't see that. These are things that they need to take into consideration. They don't bother about that, but they are here crying like babies. When I take a look at the recent poll, it shows Trump is crushing her on economy. And Libras are not happy with this. I'm glad that people are waking up. They are seeing exactly what is happening. It is important to take this into consideration. There is this another clip I saw. If you like what I'm doing here and you want to support the channel, please subscribe. Turn on your notification, and if possible, it will do you no harm if you share out this video.
If you look at the white voters without college degrees, this is a Trump-based constituency, obviously. You see his huge numbers with this group. You see that this is a trouble sign for Harris. She also, in a place like Georgia, is not doing well with white college-educated voters. She probably wants to make up some ground with white college-educated voters across the...
And this whole election is interesting because it's going to be close come November. I like how, the vice president is hitting the ground and speaking to people in these battleground states. But I do feel like I think she does need to do more outreach in the press. Because I believe it's a lot of excitement within the party. And then like that blue bubble, but she got to excite the folks outside of that bubble because I don't want this to be one of those elections where she wins the popular vote but loses the electoral college vote.
Right, makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
She's starting to do interviews, right? I seen she's doing something with Ricky Smiley. I thought she was doing something else I seen next week. So maybe she is getting out there.
Yeah.
And just point out how close this race has been consistently close. All right, campaigns where any candidate led by at least 5 points in the polls. Look, most of the time there's at least some stretch where one of the candidates is ahead by at least 5 points. At least 3 weeks in which one candidate led by at least 5 points. That happened in every single campaign from 1964 to 2020. How many days have we had this campaign where one candidate was ahead by at least 5 points nationally? Look at this. 0 days. 0 days. The fact is this race has been consistently tight in a way that we have never seen before, Mr. Berman.
This is always versus never.
Correct.
That's the difference between this campaign and every other campaign we've seen for the last 75 years or so.
Kamala Harris at this point did not get what they thought they will have after the DNC. They thought she will have a boom. She should be comfortable going into the election, knowing fully well that she will win. At this point, even the polls from the mainstream media, which we all know how they lie sometimes of a sample Democrat, is showing that she still have a problem. That interview, which on CNN, seeing Trump trashing her like she was really unknown. The first day I watched that interview, I had to question it because she was like this at a certain point. So seeing Trump saying like she had the questions is something I don't even want to argue. Now, looking at Kamala, they are in trouble. The campaign is in trouble. At first, when I go on Twitter, my news feed was full of her. Like today, everything, when I go on Twitter, it is Trump, 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 Trump. She is not that getting the boom like they expected. Interviews, we have not seen her. That single interview alone did not help.
And Vice President Kamala Harris begins debate camp to prepare in Pittsburgh tomorrow ahead of her first face-to-face matchup with Donald Trump next week.
Mark Meredith is live at the White House. Hey, Mark.
Lauren, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian, good morning. Friends, we are less than a week out for the first and potentially only presidential debate of these two candidates this cycle. And while they will be taking time to prepare right now, they're also reaching out to voters in swing states. Later today, Vice President Harris, she will be in New Hampshire talking about her economic plans for small businesses. Former President Trump, he'll be taking questions here on Fox. The latest prediction from data guru Nate Silver shows Trump still with a sizable advantage in the electoral contest with a 56% chance of winning, the highest he's seen since late July. Trump also leading with Hispanic voters on an interesting issue on handling immigration. Of course, an issue that is central to this election cycle. Still, Harris surrogates say it's important for her not to pivot too much away from her base.
The mainstream media polls, you will see the difference. The oversample Democrat so that Kamala can be propped up in most cases. If you look at even their polls, it is not even that wide. The gap between Trump and Kamala, though she is winning in some cases.
President out doing economic speeches. Her ads are also tilting now heavily toward the economy. In Arizona, Trump's up 5 overall. Voters view him as the better candidate by 15 points on the economy. In Georgia, where Harris is tied, maybe +1, Trump has a slight advantage. So you can see the trend here. In places where Harris is competitive or ahead, Trump's numbers are lower. Nevada is the outlier. This economy got thrown in the trash during COVID. But the key for Harris is to bring this Trump advantage down. Where she's winning in Wisconsin, she's up 6 in the state. Trump only +2 in the economy. This is her biggest challenge. If she can't catch Trump on the economy, at least make him +2 or +4, not +8, 16 or more.
Yes. Do you know what is more troubling? It is the fact that there are still people, after looking at the economy, still having that mind to say, I will still vote for Kamala. Then I don't know. Some would say, oh, because of her stand on abortion. I don't get the point here.
The numbers show that this is still and is going to be an incredibly, incredibly close race. We just heard John go through it. I think what the numbers today show is that Kamala Harris has more pathways, more conceivable pathways to 270 than Trump does, or at least than Trump felt like he did 6 weeks ago when Joe Biden was at the top of the ticket. I think there's no question his path has narrowed. So I think these numbers should give Democrats, they should be heartened. I think it's showing that she continues to build strength in the coalition that she needs to win. And as John was just saying, that she has room to grow. Trump, I think, probably has a little bit less room to grow, in part because he is so well defined. I think it is encouraging. I don't think by any stretch the Democrats should view this as a slam dunk, though. There is a long way to go in this race, and it's clearly very, very close.
I mean, Scott, obviously a few weeks ago, pretty much all those swing states, Trump thought he had it locked up. He was talking about New Hampshire, right? So it is a small solace to say, oh, well, she's only up 1% in Georgia. We can still do that. I mean, it's still got to be pretty grim to look at these for Trump's team, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, he was underestimated badly in several of these states by a lot of polling in 2016 and 2020, including in some CNN polling, I might add. I agree with Kate. I think it's an incredibly close race. Either of these candidates could win any of these states we're talking about. And I also agree with John that the ticket to victory for the middle and for some of these male voters that they're competing for is really to talk about the economy. I had to chuckle a little bit today listening to her talk about her tax policy. I mean, she's like, see, Joe Biden's tax policy is only going to kill you as much as, Jason Voorhees. But I'm more like Mike Myers. See, isn't that better? No, it's not better. They're both scary as hell. And either way, you're going to be dead. And so I think she's going to have to come up with something a little better than I'm going to raise your taxes a little less than Joe Biden is if she wants to do economic competition here
on the capital gain specifically.
Trump.
On the main time, it was
As a result of this.
It does not need to be like this. This is silly.
About Barack Obama when it comes to
the theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
her being president.
And if the pace plays
leaving a speech from Michelle Obama that I have to say is one of the best
gun-toting.
We were talking.
Trump or Kamala? Trump. Damn Kamala.
Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on tips.
For some people, it's already started.
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris.
They say the economy's great. Just look at the jobs numbers. Well, we did, and they disappeared.
The money in politics is so extraordinary, which is something that should have never been allowed to happen.
When Joe stepped down, did you want it to be an open convention as opposed to going right to Kamala?
Well, here's the plan. Kamala, it was open. Anybody could have gotten in. She wrapped it up. You have to give her credit for that.
I do, totally. And the Democratic Party, you know what? That's the smartest thing they did. Because they just had a big internal fight. They couldn't afford another one. They would have looked like we always think, oh, they're disorganized, and they just got their you-know-what together.